Hi, I'm Roamy. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Boba X carrier to carry your child on your back. Now, here I've got the Boba X carrier, and because it's black, I've actually put my cardigan on to make it easier for you to see, but obviously you don't need to be wearing a cardigan before you put it on. So this has been adjusted to carry my child on the front. If you haven't used the carrier before, have a watch of my video just to show how to adjust it to get it the right width and height for your child before you try putting it on the back. Now, one thing I want to just look at is these straps before we start. So if you look at your shoulder straps, which you want to make sure are done up straight, which again I'll have shown you in my other video, make sure you've got a little bit of the webbing available on either end to pull. It will just make it a bit easier when they're on your back to be able to reach it, so it's not at its full extent stretched out. So check on both of those that you've got some webbing that you can reach to pull. And you also want to, particularly if you're petite, you may want to shorten this bit here. So if you look on the front of the carrier, you've got a little pulley piece coming up here. And what this does is it shortens the length of the strap. So it just scrunches it up a little bit there. And the same here. It just means you can get the shoulder straps tighter. Now obviously it depends on your build as to whether you need them tighter, but I tend to start with it like that. If you find you've got tons of webbing here, then obviously you can loosen it next time, but it means you can get it nice and snug. Final thing to do is just have a little look at where this clip is, and for a back carry you're going to want it sort of around here on your front, so depending on where you've had it on the back you're likely to have had it higher on the back. So if you just bring it down towards the bottom here, so near the webbing, just then it won't be up around your neck when you go to do it up. So my straps are now all set up, so I'm going to put the carrier on. So to put the carrier on, you can either start with it on the back or put it on the front and move it round. But what you want is the bit with the labelly bit facing in, like that, and it's going to then have the clip going round. So you can either do it on the front or on the back. I'm just going to move it round to the back like that, and then do this up round here. And clip that together. And then wriggle these sideways to tighten it up. Now for a back carry, you're going to generally want to wear your child higher than you would on the front, because on the front you're going to have their head sort of here. On the back you're going to want it so they can see over your shoulder. So think about where you'd wear it on the front and wear it maybe about 5 centimetres, a couple of inches higher. So I'd normally wear this down on my hips. I'm going to therefore wear it just around my waist. So it depends on the size of your child, how tall you are, all those different variables as to where's right for you. So tighten it up so it's nice and snug. And then just have a little feel and check you've got an even amount of fabric either side. So if you look around here, this is sitting nice and evenly. You want to make sure you haven't got it off to one side, otherwise it'll be uneven with your child. So just have a feel and check it's kind of going an even amount either side. Okay, you're now ready to pick up your child. So here I've got a demo doll which is around sort of 9 to 12 months old. Obviously you can back carry from whenever you feel confident. Generally, it's best to wait till they're at least 6 months old and can sit up unaided, just because they're a bit more robust and a bit easier to get on your back. But that doesn't mean you have to start at 6 months. A lot of people wait until baby's closer to a year or even beyond that. So there's no real kind of you have to move from a front carry. It's just another option that becomes available. Now, the method I'm going to show you is where you obviously start with it on your back. There are other methods available too. And if you look at some of my other back carry videos, you can see some other methods demonstrated on there, but this is a method that I find easiest just to get baby even in the carrier. So have a look at this method. If this one doesn't work for you, have a look at some of my other back carrier methods. They'll be with different types of carrier, but it's the same method regardless of the brand pretty much. They're pretty much all the same for getting baby there. So have a look at the other videos if this one isn't right for you. So got baby held on my side, and hold them as far around as you can with the opposite hand. So the hand from the opposite side around them. Then the hand on the same side of them you're going to bring over in like a front claw movement, so you're holding them from the front with both hands like that. Okay, then you're going to bring this hand out and around and just bounce them around onto your back and lean forward so gravity is helping you. Okay, so at this stage, check you're happy with how high your baby is. Check you can kind of see them over your shoulder. Obviously keep one hand on them at all times until you've got them secure. Also check that they're even one side to the other, so you haven't got them all off to one side or the other. So keep your hand on them, and then what you're going to do is slide your hand under the fabric and just stroke it up over their bottom, so you're then holding them with the material. Okay, so you've still got them held. Then what you're going to do is take one strap you're going to bring it straight out behind you like this and up and over your shoulder. Okay, like that. I'm going to show you the other side. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the other side. So hold baby with the other hand on the fabric, take your strap and check it's not twisted and bring it straight out behind and up over your shoulder. Now the reason you bring it straight out behind is that means there's no fabric going to get stuck underneath them, so you know that it's properly all coming up over their back like that. Okay, so keep one hand on your baby at this stage still while we just tighten it up. So I'm just going to take hold of this strap and just tighten it a little bit here and here. Don't fully tighten it yet, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, but once you feel like they're held fairly well, so it's not fully tightened, but it's fairly well tightened, you're going to still leaning forward, get this clip and just clip it together. And if you need to adjust where it is, so this one needs to come up a bit for me, just slide it up. They're really easy to slide. So you clip this together. Now you want to adjust this clip so these straps are sitting flat on your shoulders. So depending on how broad your shoulders are will determine how tight this needs to be. For me, I need it on the tightest setting, but obviously if you are broader, you'll need it a little bit looser. So get those tightened up. Now you can fully tighten it. So you should be able to let go of your little one. So take hold of each side, you give a little bounce and tighten. And the bounce, what that does is it takes baby's weight, so you're not trying to lift them with this. If you bounce and tighten, it'll tighten these up really nice and easily. Okay, so you can see I've now stood up because baby's nice and snug. Now, I don't know if you noticed, the legs are a little bit uneven here, so I'm just going to reach in, put my hands underneath baby's bottom and give a little bounce and bring them across just to make them even. It's not a safety issue, but it feels nicer to have them kind of evenly supported from one leg to the other so they're not lopsided. Okay, so the main safety checks to have baby on your back are, one, basically that baby's got clear airways. So if you can see them over your shoulder, that's great. You want to make sure that obviously that's not covering over their head. If your carrier is on a very tall setting, you may need to obviously adjust that down, which you'd need to do before you put it on again. You also want to check they're held nice and snug so they can't kind of lunge backwards. So check they're held nice and secure. If you give a little pull on these, if you feel that you need to get them a bit more snug, then do your little tightening thing again. So reaching these ones from behind, these are the ones that come straight forward, and give a little bounce. Okay, check the carriers fitting nicely from one knee to the other, and again you can adjust them if you need to. And the other most important thing is you need to make sure it's coming to at least their armpits. So it can be anywhere between the nape of their neck and their armpits, but no lower than their armpits, because that means even if they were to lunge backwards, they're not going to come out. So make sure it's nice and high up to here. If it is a little bit low behind them, take hold of the straps over your shoulders like this and give a little bounce. And what that will do is it will get rid of any fabric that might be stuck underneath their bottom. So when you brought the carrier up, you may have a little bit of fabric onto here, which is a little bit rucked up. So if you do find that, take hold of the straps here, just give a little bounce, and that should help to bring it up higher. Can you see I've got that now up to the nape of their neck, and it was down to about there before. Okay, obviously this strap you can adjust up and down depending on what feels comfy for you. But that's pretty much it, I think. So yeah, you ideally want to be able to see them over your shoulder, but it's not a safety concern if you can't. So everyone carries in a different place on their back, so whatever feels comfortable for you. I just quite like being able to see them so you can kind of chat to them, and they can also then see out as well, so they can see over your shoulder to see what's going on. Right, so to take baby out, we're just going to reverse what we've done. Now you may want to loosen these first, or you may want to leave them as they are. It's totally up to you. If you want to loosen them, you can loosen them here just by lifting this. I'm putting one hand on baby because I'm obviously loosening it. So bring that forward just to loosen it a little bit. Okay, and then undo the clip. So I've got one hand on baby. Okay, and I've undone the clip. Then keeping one hand on baby, I'm going to bring this over my shoulder and then hold them on the inside of the carrier with that hand. And then I'm going to bring the other strap off. So I'm holding them on the inside with both. You can then either slide them back round onto your hip, which is how I tend to get down, or you can just lower them down onto a surface, or if they're walking, you can always bend down and lower them down onto the floor. So there's lots of different ways to get them down. But that is basically how to use the Boba X carrier to carry your baby on your back.